here at Casa Verde. I'm here with Dan, manager of Casa Verde.
Yes, sir.
It's great to be here. It was a great day today. A lot of people flowing in, got to meet. I got educated as well. It's a beautiful thing to let these people in. So let me start off by, introduce yourself. What do you do? And yeah, just a little bit about yourself.
Got you. My name is Dan. My cannabis name is the OG because I'm the original ginger in this industry. I've been in the industries for 4 years now. Got my teeth sunken in. I opened up the Apothecarium in Lodi. I've opened a few other dispensaries, and this is dispensary number 4 opening. And the Casa is home to me. And I grew up in this area. I went to CCM, played soccer for CCM, and when I got hired, I said, I know this area. This is a beautiful area, great people. I fucked up, but this is really, really, really excited to be here.
Yeah. So you have quite a bit of an experience in the industry, I would say.
Yep.
How did you get started in the industry?
Funny you should say that. COVID. Everyone, lost their jobs. Things really happened for a lot of people. For me, it was a transitive time. I was working for Model Sporting Goods, rest in pieces, and I was up in Boston. COVID hit. I came back home. Like everyone was finding a vice, trying to, what do I do? I'm stuck at home. I got to flatten the curve. One day, I started smoking a J, and I said, I could sell this. So I made it my point. I was like, once COVID breaks, let me try to get in this industry. Let me try to be passionate about it. I come from a teaching background. I was always a teacher and a leader. And I'm like, I have the skills. Now let me just try to move this industry. And I was really glad to get the opportunity I did. And, one thing in this industry that they don't talk about is, doesn't matter if you were a GM, an executive in another position, you have to humble yourself and take that step back when you get into the cannabis industry. Because you might have the soft skills, but if you want to be really good in this industry, you have to start from the ground up. You have to learn every aspect of the business. So when you are ready for that next step, you're ready to go. And that was one big thing I learned in that whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds similar to what John Frank was telling me. He's like, if you really want to connect with the plant, got to get your hands dirty.
Exactly.
And that's very relatable.
It is. And, when legalization first happened in the state, everyone was looking for make a quick buck. And, I can do this, I can do that, I can make a lot of money. But what's really important is the plant. And if you're going into this industry with the wrong intentions or wrong ideas, you're not going to make it very long. And as you can see, we're about 3 years, 4 years in this industry. You see who's really standing the test of time and who's flaking off.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's true. Very true. So it's a pretty unique way to get into it. I feel like it's a very Harold and Kumari way to get into the industry.
It is.
Just smoking a joint. Oh, I got an idea. It's great. But those situations took, the COVID lockdowns was definitely one of those, definitely relatable. So how was your past experience working with past dispensaries compared to Casa Verde? You've opened up, you said, for one other, or?
Yep, a few of them. I opened up with Terrascend up in Lodi when they first opened. I helped to get Queen City Remedies in Plainfield up and running, and I also down in Princeton I got City Roots up and running, and now this is home to me. The real difference is with an MSO life versus mom and pop. The MSOs, they're very, I'd say, red tapey. They have their standards. They want to make sure the standards are upheld at all times. And with these mom and pop dispensaries, it's more like, hey, we trust you. We're trying to be community. We want you doing the right things. And I'll tell anyone who's trying to get in this industry, wherever path you go into is your own path. So there's no, hey, this is going to be the easiest way. This is going to be the hardest way. You got to just get the opportunity and make it your own. And, I was very blessed to, be a part of legalization, see it on the MSO level. And now being with mom and pops, I think it's tremendous. And being in that mom and pop atmosphere, it's a little more relaxed. This industry is high paced, but it's relaxed. And, you can go at the end of the day, I even tell customers, days are stressful, but you know what? I sell on weed, so that's the best. That's the best thing. And I know, if I'm in a bad day, I know where to get my weed. So um, Casa Verde has been very, very good to me, and not because I'm in the building and my owner's looking at me. They give me the keys to be successful, and I'm just driving the car now.
Right.
And very strong rooted in community. I true, like I said, I grew up in this area, and everywhere you look around this building is community, and I want to try to I instill it with my I want to say students. I'm a former teacher. The kids that work here and the customers. You could see when you come in here, you're home.
Yeah.
You are at the casa.
Yeah, the one thing that I do when I come in here all the time is everybody's very, very tight. You know what I mean? Like it's very like family oriented, I guess I want to say. Like everybody here is like, they're the brothers or whatever. Like they're very community based, very friendly. And you can tell, that goes on from behind the counter and all that other stuff. It snowballs. And yeah, it's just a great experience here in Casa Verde. I enjoy it.
And that's really good to hear. And that makes me feel like I know what I'm doing for once, right?
Yeah.
When I did all my training with these, 9 out of 10 of my bud tenders are from Dover, and that's what makes me very, very proud, because these aren't hired mercenaries coming from other states. These are local hometown kids. Hey, you work here at Casa Verde? Oh man, what's going on? And I tell these kids, I said, you know what? I'm going to train you so you leave. Because the best thing as a leader, hey, I see you opening up that dispensary. I see you got an opportunity here. I see you working at MSO now. As long as you're growing, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to train you so you leave, but I'm going to treat you so you stay.
I like
And,
that.
putting that love and that growth into the people, if they know they supported, they'll run through a wall and they will help those customers. And, they'll really feel like they are out.
Yeah, it almost feels like an investment to the community in so many different ways, in growth and experience, and learning. This is a new path, and this path is being trailblazed by by people, different people. You said MSOs, mom and pops, people that are trying to get into the industry like yourself, or So it's a great way to pave that path, trailblaze it for the people that are coming, especially Dover is an impact zone. So it means a lot, to the community itself. There's great food around here as well.
Exactly.
It's really nice. It's really nice to finally have this here in Dover, especially being an impact zone.
It is. And if you look at the ones and zeros of it all, right? Yeah, you have 5 dispensaries in Morris County alone. All right. You could go to any single one. You want to price shop? Yeah, one dispensary might be cheaper than the other. But you know what? When you come into Casa Verde, you might not know which bud tender you helped you. You might even know what product you're smoking right now. But you're gonna walk out of here feeling, damn, I got help. I learned something new today. I'm coming back. And that's really what the crust of it all. And just, it's all about experience, not about the products that we sell. What we're selling is the experience.
Yeah, not only that, but there's no stigma in here. I've seen people from all walks of life come in here, old, young, all. It's just amazing.
Exactly.
It's just absolutely crazy to see. If you go back 5-10 years ago back, you're just like, oh man, you would never imagine it to be so inclusive the way it is.
It is. I always say cannabis is the great uniter, because, doesn't matter if you're an artist, you work on Wall Street, you all have long days. You all go home and you enjoy the plant. And that to me, I've had older ladies come up to me, grab me by the arm, whisper, hey, what's the best strain for sex? And, this plant does so many different benefits, and it's cool to see so many different walks of life come in. So, and like I said, seeing so many different people like I've seen come in today makes me happy, because, a lot of you see in Casa Verde, they might trend a little older. Right now it's trending a little more women, but they're making this their dispensary.
Right.
And that's, doesn't matter if it's your first time or 50th time, we're here to give you that same experience.
Exactly, and that's what's worth it. At least for the customer wise, is where it's at. Being able to satisfy them with their needs, whether it's medicinally or maybe it's just chill back and lay back day.
Exactly.
Another thing is, how do you guys, as a dispensary, as a manager, how do you guys I guess put out certain products, or is it as needed? Another thing I noticed, a lot of the bud tenders here, they're very knowledgeable. They come in and they straight up ask you, what do you need it for and all that stuff, or like, so they're very knowledgeable, and I think that's very comfort. You know
Right.
what I mean? And how do you get them to, like, get these products? Like, how do you introduce people to these products? I know there's a lot of people that don't like to smoke
Mm-hmm.
and like prefer to consume other things. Like, how do you recommend certain products for some people?
Well, that's a really good question. A lot of it we do, and this goes back to our training. It's all about training. I've been in many dispensaries where I'll get shuttled in, and they'll be like, "All right, what do you want?" Okay, great, and I'll be out in and out 5 minutes. Really, you need to ask those open-ended questions. And if you see any of our bud tenders, the one thing I drilled in, I said, I never want you to be a robot, but the one thing I do want you to be robotic about is, hey, what are you trying to experience today? Shit, what am I trying to experience?
Yeah.
I'm here to buy weed, but what do I want? Well,
Yeah.
and you know what? I haven't been sleeping well. Maybe I should get something for sleep. And okay, what's your consumption method? We ask those open-ended questions to really pinpoint what you want. Yes, we have great partners. We have Jersey Cannon in the house today. We've had Curaleaf in the house. Yeah, we'll do partnerships and get sales and deals. But we're not one of those places where it's like a restaurant. Hey, push the fish. No, we're really here to find what you want. And that's been the greatest things for me is I've been able to curate a menu. I try to find anything. I don't care if you're throwing it at me for $5. I want to get something that's quality. Something that you're going to go tell your friends, I went to Casa Verde, I smoked this, you got to try it. And I use, product trainings. We use something called Seed Talent. So when it's slow during the day, I love how it's busy right now, but it's not always like this. So they'll take 30 minutes, do a course or two, and now they'll get samples sent into them. And you'll see some terrible stories out in the industry. You'll have the managers for them. And they say, oh, well, you got to do this for me, or you got to come in and I'll give you a sample. No, I'm only as strong as my weakest contender. And if my bartender doesn't know what they're talking about, then I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So really what we try to do, again, asking those open-ended questions, it's a difference between grabbing something and saying, this flower is earthy, pungent, and makes you exciting. Versus, hey, you know what? I'm a creative. I like to paint at night, and I smoked this. It calmed me down, but it didn't put me in the couch. Now you build that rapport and that one-on-one, like that relatability. It's like, oh, all right, you do know what I'm talking about. You
Right.
do know what I'm.
Yes.
Wow. And through that, we've had a lot of return customers, and we're able to kind of pinpoint what they want. And it is true, if you're a first timer and you're looking for a specific trait, it's going to take you at least 3 times to know what you want. And prices are high enough in Jersey as it is.
Yeah.
So we try to prevent, that buyer's remorse and, give you what's good. And if it's not good, come tell us, because we need that feedback as a business to make sure we get what you need.
Right. Make sure people's needs are being filled. Another question I have is, Casa Verde is very, very involved with the community. I know you guys do the toy drive. I think that's great for the community. What does that mean to Casa Verde to be able to give back to their community, and using obviously the plant that's been stigmatized for so long, and be able to turn that around and actually do good for the community and provide
Well, no, you bring up a good point. I mean, at first, when Dover first passed, legalization to open up a dispensary, 65% said yes. So that means there's 35% that don't like us, doesn't want this in their town. And again, we talked about stigma. They think it's Cheech and Chong. They think everyone's going to be in the parking lot smoking. So what really we need to be is a great community partner. We've had really great partnerships with Gigi's Garden to get the toy drive done. We're always trying to be at community events. We try to stay away from the kids areas and be more by the 21 and up place for beer tents and really make sure we're there. But really, community means a lot of different things, but we want to make sure we're there. And by doing these events, it's important to make sure, hey, we're not just trying to take your money. Hey, we're not just trying to, sell you weed. We want to be a resource, educational, among a lot of things. So to me, at being a part of the community, being out in the community. Again, those people that would never step foot, never go on our social media. Um, it's important that we're out. So, oh, you guys are just a bunch of pot pushers. Hey, let's have a conversation. Let's what's ailing you? Oh, I can't sleep. All right, let's talk about it. Let's see the why. And I think the more we're out in the community, the more we get our face out there. Yeah, great for business. But again, it brings it back to we want to be that community resource.
Right. Okay. I got about two more questions for you.
Sure.
My next one is, you know, the industry has improved so much in the past couple of years. You know, it almost so the person that is just accepting all this is like, wow, we have everything we need. Other people like myself, um, feel like there's so much more needs to be done.
I agree.
Um, what what is your outcome? What would you like to see in the next near future changes? Positive or maybe little things that need to be tweaked up for a little bit. Um, for me, my personal one is since I'm a patient that had a car accident and I used a lot of um, cannabis medicinally to not take opioids while I was in recovery.
Right.
So my personal thing would be home grow because it was just I can grow the strain that I need. I can, pinpoint my actual thing instead of coming, to a dispensary and trying this, trying that, trying that
Right.
when I'm already on a budget,
Right.
on this. What would you like to see a little bit different from the industry in the future, long term or short term wise? From anything from home grow to lounges and stuff like that. Obviously we've progressed a lot in the 4 years, 5 years. So what's something that long term we can work towards, and short term where something that could have a quick turnaround.
Agreed. Short term, easiest thing, home grow. Home grow should have been yesterday, last week, last month, last year. It's so important for the medical community to make sure they have access to the medicine. And, I know what the question is, hey, you work at a licensed retail dispensary, why would you support home grow? Because just for that, a lot of people who do need this plant is on a fixed budget and, they need that access. And, as a retailer, if we do it right, just how we brought everything together and the state want us to do it right, why can't we sell clones? Why can't we sell seeds? You go to Home Depot every year, it's the Garden State, right? We're buying tomatoes. You're getting your grow lights to start your seeds. Why can't we do that here? And as a retailer, we got all the space to do it here at Casa Verde. So hopefully when it becomes soon, we'll have a space to do it because again, there are retail things that we can do to help support that home grow community, and it's very important that the medical community gets home grow. So I think it's a symbiotic relationship, and it needs to be done last week. For long-term things that I could see, you see drinks are coming down the line. Edibles, drinks, I think right now there's too small of a dosage, and I completely understand someone who's new to cannabis, start low and go slow, and having those small 5 milligram, 10 milligram doses. But there's people here with real pain. And just like you said with your story, you want to stay away from the opioids. There's so many people that's turned their life around from the war on opioids and now are going towards cannabis. And we really need those high dose items. And I'm glad to see a lot of different companies start coming out with like the 100 milligram high dose, one singular like bites. It needs to be expanded. It needs to be 250, 500, whatever the state thinks it's good enough to do. I will support it, but I think that needs to be looked at. I'm very excited to see that the lounges are starting to get applications out there. I'm really excited about that because, I if I lived in an apartment or I live with my parents, I don't have a place where I can safely consume the plant. And you see cigar lounges; they do it right now. They have the smoke emulators to get smoke out of there.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited to see when it happens in Jersey. I want to be one of the first ones there because that's an event, that's an experience. Just like we try to deliver an experience, I think that expands on our industry. So I'm really excited. Home grow yesterday, and I'm really excited to see the expansion of lounges in the near future.
Yeah. The lounges are something very, very important to me. You know, I've I've met a lot of people that are like low income housing or state housing, federal housing. They can't consume inside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And most of those people probably medical reasons why they can't work or they can't. So it's kind of rough. You can't they can't consume,
Exactly.
in the home. So like I think having a spot for them to safely consume would be great.
Exactly.
I also like sports, love sports. I think about a sports bar, but instead of alcohol, you have cannabis,
Exactly.
where you can consume, play, some pool or, take dabs right at the bar, to get that bar experience, but with the cannabis.
Agreed.
I think that that'll be a big, wonderful thing to see, especially in New Jersey.
Agreed. And you know what's another thing too? You kind of sparked me. Not literally sparked, but why can't golf courses have cannabis?
Yeah.
Why not? Like, especially, we're starting to see the arrival of delivery. Domino's Pizza has hot spots. Why can't there be hot spots at golf courses?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you got to have a cart girl roll up your joint, but why can't dispensaries deliver to golf courses? And that's,
yeah.
that's another thing I want to see long term.
Yeah, that's a funny story about a golf course. I'm vice president of Sativa Cross, and we went to a golf outing with Ricky Williams.
Okay.
And we saw a cigar guy rolling up cigars, handmade cigars, and I was like, "Oh, dude, we gotta ask him to roll us up a blunt." And the cigar guy looked at us. He's like, "Yo, are you sure you want to do this, man?" So yeah, so I had a hand rolled cigar, cannabis cigar, and golfed a little bit. And,
Oh,
it
yeah.
was quite the experience, I must say.
Excellent.
So another question for me is, if somebody's trying to get into this industry,
Yeah.
how what advice would you give them to get into this industry? Maybe how, maybe brush up on some knowledge, books, or maybe on something to help them to get into the industry if they're worried, scared. Just something to comfort them to welcome into the industry.
Agreed. It's a really good question. It's important that, like what we were talking about earlier, about grinding and taking that step back. One of the things we've seen the last 3 years is you see Stockton, you see Raritan Community College. There's countless other ones that are starting to grow and pop up. Hopefully CCM soon, but you see those cannabis education courses, and I think it's important if you have an opportunity to do it, go do it. Even if you say I want to be in the industry, but I don't know if I want to work on a grow side or a retail side, get in there. That's the easiest way to get your hands and feet in there and to really like start networking. Because again, in any industry, including cannabis, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And truly, through those partnerships, that's where we grow. Not only partnerships with vendors, but partnerships with, hey, I know this guy who, he works at Sativa, he's at Sativa Cross. He knows this guy and the other guy. I know Chris who does this, that, and the other thing for Casa Verde. So it's important that, first thing is you try to get in those classes. Second is the internet. There's so many great websites. You have Leafly, you have Weed Maps, and among countless other, free courses, or you can go down a rabbit hole. I'm gonna go buy my Paloma Spritz. Where did that come from? Where did the genetics come from? What is that crossed with? Well, why is this like that? Now you're learning about genetics, and what been a 5-minute Google search is now a 25-minute, going down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So, as much as you want to put into it, that's what you're going to get back. And, that's what I tell, the kids here. Just keep grinding, keep learning. And you never know what's going to come in as a benefit. And I had someone come in and he hasn't been into a legal dispensary in 20 years. Hey, let me get that sour diesel. You can't find sour diesel anywhere, especially in New Jersey right now. So what I had the bud tender do, we literally went on Google and we found the genetics and we kind of did a reverse. And what was the closest thing we had in the building to satisfy this customer's need? And we found the terpenes profile that's kind of associated with sour diesel, and we found them something else that they wanted. So, there's a lot of different avenues. I'd say don't be afraid, just take that first step. That would be my number one answer. There's a lot of opportunities, but until you take that first step, it's just going to be a plan.
Yeah, just get out there.
Just get out there.
Get your hands dirty. Get in there.
Exactly. And you know what? If you fail, that means you're doing something. Because, you know, everyone's so, especially when you get in the industry, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, and they're tiptoeing. Do it. Get dirty. Fail. Because you know why? When you fail the first time, you're going to be ready for the second time. And no stands for next opportunity. So, hey, you know, I really want to be a bud tender and I'm going to apply for this job that's close to home. And they say no. Let's go. Next opportunity. There's over 200 dispensaries in this state and growing. That's just dispensaries. We got over 30 manufacturers. We have all these new installations coming in. So get your feet wet, learn. And you know what? If I met this recruiter and I didn't get this first job, I'm going to get on LinkedIn. I tell everyone to get on LinkedIn because you never know who you're going to run into. And it's important. It truly, truly is important to know those networking relationships.
Yeah. And you're an example of it, you know, going through 4 dispensaries and doing all that. Like, it's a perfect example. You know, I'm sure you've seen a couple failures along the way.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you had to pull yourself out of the hole a couple times and, you know, getting yourself on and, you know, and still taking that first step initially every time.
Exactly. Because like I said, every time you fail, you learn something. And you know what? Doesn't matter where I ended up. I'm here now with you. And that means I know I'm doing something right.
And you just get that much better every time.
That much better every day. If you're 1% better, guess what? In 100 days, you're 100% better.
Yeah, I like that. So for last one, closing out, I don't want to take too much more of your time. I don't know if you have a social media account that, you know, if you gather your own followings or if there's anything you want to promote, Casa Verde, any upcoming events, anything you want to say to listeners, followers, you know, greeting.
All right. Well, one thing I learned today is I got to make a cannabis social media account. But my socials right now on Instagram is the Corduroy Boy. You know how to spell it? You're halfway there. You know, I just want to give a shout out to Casa Verde. You know, we are going to be very soon the #1 cannabis dispensary in Morris County and hopefully in the state. What's our secret sauce is the experience and the love and the details that we put in every aspect of your visit. And, you know, again, you'll see me, I live here. I sit on the couch. I'm on my laptop, but really it's truly about the bud tenders. And take your time to meet your bud tender because, you know, we take the time to make sure we get the right things for you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, likewise, thank you for the opportunity.